There you go. No countdown today? Okay, here we go. Welcome to the Box Truck Hustle, where we highlight real stories and real strategies for people moving freight every day. I'm your host, Telly Arnold, and I am the founder of TLA Group LLC and the creator of Straight Connect. And I've secured over $20,000 in grants, helping my box truck business generate revenue. Sorry, I'm so going out of place. Shanique, can you introduce yourself? You on mute?
Hi, my name is Shanique Burke. I am a freight dispatcher. I'm also a licensed financial professional. I've been in the freight industry for March will be my fourth year.
Thank you. And our guest today is Ryan with Roadside Connection. Ryan, you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, it's actually Owen. Sorry.
When where I get Ryan? Sorry.
No, Ryan was one of the other guys. It's all good.
Yeah.
But I'm Owen Edlefson. I am the CEO and co-founder of Roadside Connections LLC. Yeah.
That's it? You okay.
Based in Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're a new software startup. We're super excited to be here. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay. So you have a platform called Roadside Connection. What problem did you personally see in the trucking industry that made you say this needs to be fixed, and how did that lead to Roadside Connections?
Yeah, well, I started my experience in the trucking industry working as a tire lube tech in a diesel shop, and from there I just saw that there is a mutually beneficial relationship between trucking companies and diesel shops and roadside vendors, all kind of meshed in there, where they really rely on one another to be successful. But the problem was I was seeing that neither of them were happy in those situations. We had trucking companies that were suffering from long periods of downtime, and then we had large discrepancies of work between different diesel shops. Some were very overwhelmed, others had like zero work coming through. So both parties have complementary demands, but struggle to meet them, struggle to kind of keep each other happy. Uh, and from this, I just kind of saw an opportunity to bring a change to a ginormous industry that we all really heavily rely on.
Gotcha. And so I know from my own experience, breakdowns are very costly, and breakdowns can kill revenue quite fast, especially for box truck owners. Our profit margins are. So how does Roadside Connection help reduce downtime compared to traditional roadside repair process?
Yeah, well, the main thing that we try to do is we try to save time, and time is definitely money in the trucking industry. And I see a lot of widely practiced methods of connecting and communicating that are very inefficient when it comes to saving time, when it comes to getting responses quickly, when it comes to getting results quickly. And it's just the different methods that one party will use, like in this relationship of or coexisting relationship between roadside vendors and trucking companies, their relationship that they have to rely on one another. If one uses methods to try to find what they need from the other, and the other uses methods to find what they need from the other, really those methods work against each other. And it's like two magnets that are wrong ends to each other. They're just resistant to that connection. And what we're really trying to do is we're trying to spin those magnets to the right ends, get them to connect effortlessly. So our company built an app where we kind of remove those restrictions, we remove those barriers, we try to replace those methods that are previously kind of or that are currently and commonly used in the industry for just smoother communication, giving every party the results and the control that they want faster.
Okay. And so exactly, could you describe your platform to somebody who would be new to hearing this and never heard of Roadside Connection? So if you were trying to get me to join your platform, what would you tell somebody?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what it is, to briefly explain it, and then I'll kind of dive into it, but for a one sentence response, is it's a marketplace for roadside assistance. So instead of kind of having to call individual shops in a sequential manner, kind of playing the guessing game of are they available? Are they going to have the resources that we need? Are they going to have the parts that we need? Are they going to have the technicians that we need? All those questions. Instead of having to play the guessing games with multiple phone calls, if you were a driver or a dispatcher, say you're a company that has a large fleet, and really the company wants to be calling the shots when it comes to who they're using, different costs like that. Either a driver or a dispatcher can create what we call a beacon on our platform. And the beacon is basically just a notification saying, hey, there's a breakdown. This is where it is. Here's some basic info about what the vehicle is, and then here's some basic info about what the problem is. And so that gets sent. If I'm a driver that's creating that beacon, it gets sent both to my dispatcher, my associated dispatcher, trucking company, whoever's monitoring that situation from there, as well as to every roadside vendor in the area that has the app downloaded for them. And they filter out kind of the incoming beacons that are coming to their dashboards based off of things like location, based off things like the type of work, the type of engine, say, and just different filters that they can use to make sure that the beacons that pop up on their dashboards are relevant to the work that they can provide. So that tries to make it a little faster for them on their end. But once they have beacons pop up on their side of things on their dashboard, they look through them, they can see the details just like anybody else, and they place a bid on the work that they think that they can do well. And those bids will include things like ETAs, uh, hourly rates,
Mm-hmm.
some details about what the vendor is, like their phone number for the dispatcher to call if they need to, or the driver to call. And then from there, it's the dispatcher who's kind of monitoring those situations, monitoring the beacons, monitoring the bids, and able to kind of see all that info all on a platform for multiple trucks, multiple breakdowns, if that's the situation. And it just kind of brings it all together.
Gotcha. So somebody who is not highly technical or mechanical here, um, like for instance, we had a breakdown one time when one of our drivers was over the road, and I ended up Googling to find a roadside person to come look at the truck. This is where Roadside Connection will fill in that. Will Roadside Connection be able to like connect to your ELD to see that, oh, there's a potential, you have a code that popped up, or that's going to be totally separate from your app?
Uh, our main kind of one of our basic operating principles that we're trying to go for is simplicity and compatibility. Those are kind of big things that we're going for, and we know
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of other softwares and things like that tie into those details like the ELD and things. We'd love to integrate with those, but for our independent platform, just to make sure we're as compatible as possible and not interfering too much with people's operations, at least to start.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do too much on that. We're kind of going based off of people's reports of what's going on.
Okay.
Um, but for can you repeat the beginning of that
So I guess
question? I'm sorry.
you know, I have an ELD and it'll tell me like a code will pop up. And
Right, right,
so then I'll start, okay, I need to get some kind of roadside person because we're not mechanics at all.
right.
And we start Googling. Instead of having to Google to look for somebody in the area, we could go to your platform to see if there's a mechanic that is a member of Roadside Connection.
Yes, absolutely. So the way that it would work for you guys is you would throw it out there on the platform, and then you would immediately get responses back. And then if you get responses, when you get responses, you know automatically these guys are available, and then you can click on them. You can see all the info that would go behind what their ETA is, all those things. Um, where we found that marketing platforms like Google and NTTS and other platforms that vendors try to market on is that's really one of the big sources for the discrepancy behind why there's underutilized technicians and why there's technicians that are absolutely overwhelmed. And that comes from the fact that on these platforms, these vendors and techs have to bid to be at the highest spot. And in some of the most competitive areas, that can be upwards of thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not doing well as a tech, if you're not doing well as a diesel shop, you're already struggling to get by, let alone have thousands of dollars to try to get yourself to a better placement for better opportunities. So that discrepancy just widens and widens,
Right.
and so that leaves a lot of underutilized resources that if you were just calling from the top of the list on Google, there's a lot of resources that you just would not see before you're just kind of willing to go for the 3 hour ETA or whatever it is.
Right. So one thing I noticed, that there's an advantage of going to the truck stop mechanics is they work over the weekend, where there's a disadvantage where diesel mechanics do not work on the weekend. And sometimes that's where our drivers may be sitting with a load Is there anything that is built into Roadside Connections to say, hey, we have weekend availability? If there's something urgent, you're sitting on a load or anything like that?
Well, we know that we have a few of our vendors who do work 24/7. Um, it's not necessarily that we would be marketing those aspects as much as it is that we would have those guys registered and available on our app to be seeing those beacons come in on the weekend. And because it's the weekend, because as you were saying, a lot of these vendors aren't even working.
Right.
Those that are have a lot less competition when it comes to any available beacons to put something out there. Say, hey, I can be there in 2 hours. Um, Even if it's just the one guy in the area that's working on the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
if he isn't able to be listed anywhere near the top on any other marketing platform, he may never get the call. But if you put a beacon on Roadside Connections, or Roadside Beta is the name of our app, um, and then he's also registered to that, he'd be able to see that. He'd be notified immediately, and then he could obviously put a bid on that and
Gotcha.
let you know how fast he could be there.
So they are bidding for our work. Is that what
Mm-hmm.
I'm understanding? So,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
so we could get cheaper prices. Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly.
Can
Yeah.
that work where, say, for instance, you're home and you want to get bidding? Like, say, for instance, I had a turbo go out on the other truck that I had,
Mm-hmm.
and it's set for like a month or so. And I could have said, hey, I need a turbo fix on such X, Y, and Z. I got this bid right now at $10,000. I want to see the best bid. Well, you know what? Let me back up. Is the bidding on the labor and parts?
The bidding is just because we're really focused around the roadside assistance, like emergency kind
Okay,
of
emergency.
unexpected breakdown stuff.
Gotcha.
It's really just based off of, not that these guys would have to change what their rates are, but just stating their rates as to see how they compare to other shops, just based off of what their standard rates are.
Gotcha.
And then things like ETAs are going to be really, really big when it comes to that as well. So if you see another bid on there that's like saying that they can be there in an hour and you're like, hey, I can be there in 30 minutes, you can slide your
Gotcha.
bid on there. And then even if you have a higher hourly rate, you might still have a better shot just because it's saving them half an hour.
Gotcha. Okay. So I was thinking totally different. All wrong. All wrong. But
Like, you're
that
good.
is something for you to think about.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a nationwide shortage of diesel technician. How is your platform helping both truck owners and techs win at the same time?
Yeah, so like I said, we're trying to be able to offer more results faster for trucks and trucking companies. We're trying to be able to have it be where they aren't just kind of sitting there waiting for results, waiting for things to happen. So that's where we really began looking at things. Is we have our three users that can use this: is a driver, their dispatcher, and then a vendor. And we looked at those and said, hey, where are they just having to wait? Where's time being wasted? Where's their inefficiencies? So for drivers, instead of just kind of and we're thinking larger fleets is going to be our main beginning spot. So for drivers, we're thinking instead of them having to just sit there and try to get a hold of their dispatcher, try to get a hold of the decision makers um, to get their help, they immediately can, within minutes, set out a beacon that immediately notifies them as well as mechanics. So that by the time the dispatcher looks at it, there's already offers for them to look at. So
Gotcha.
it really streamlines the process for the trucking company aspect of things, but especially the diesel technician shortage. It's something that the entire industry is struggling with. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that our company can do to provide those diesel techs that we really need. But as I was kind of mentioning a little bit earlier, we do have a lot of underutilized shops, underutilized technicians, and I think it's really due to the fact that there's just shops that aren't getting the call. That
Right.
was what I was facing when I was working as a tire tech, as a loop tech, was there would be times where we were just sitting around waiting for a phone call because that was the only source of work. If no one was calling, we just have to pretend to be cleaning longer to kind of make an excuse for why we were still on the clock.
Right.
But we never knew when that was going to come in because all these emergency things, they happen unexpectedly. They don't choose a day of the week. So it was just kind of waiting around. So this kind of flips it where it levels the playing field. It puts all the work onto a platform for every single vendor to look at. And then it allows that vendor to say, hey, if we don't have anything going on right now, if we have a technician that needs work, if we have a tire tech that needs work, like I can actively look on this open marketplace, see if there's anything nearby, see if there's anything I can send my guys out to do. And then that can really help just better utilize the resources that every single shop has instead of having to compete for just to be noticed.
Because what I'm hearing you're saying is sometimes there's not enough work for the diesel mechanics. That's what I'm hearing you saying, correct?
Well,
Well,
the
sometimes, not all the time, but there may be times where they don't have the clientele, maybe.
right, I think it's more that and you see that with some shops being overwhelmed and some shops being underutilized, that the work is there, it's just not getting spread out to a spot where where it's efficient for the trucking company and where it benefits the vendors as well all around. So yeah, you have the guys at the top, the guys that are doing really well that are like, we're so freaking backed up, and then we have guys that have already signed up on our app that are like, we need more business, it's just not coming in. And so with those large discrepancies, it's just causing a lot of issues all around where we just have a lot of underutilized resources. And in the meantime, we're struggling from uh, a diesel technician shortage, which we definitely have, no doubt there, but we
Hmm.
also haven't fully utilized the supply that we have. And so I'd like to see kind of what how things could change and how things could benefit from fully utilizing the supply, and see if we can kind of mitigate those damages and consequences that we're facing from that shortage.
Correct. I know from living in Houston, a lot of what I see for trucks is like on the north side. Not that you would know, but anyway, on the north side of Houston. And so, like, one of our first diesel mechanics was on the north side. I had to go Google to find somebody that was closer to where we live. And we found an awesome mechanic. I think I sent him your name, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's part of, I don't know, do diesel mechanics, are they actively engaged on social media? Are they putting their name out there? Because sometimes you have to build your brand. And also, what I've learned in a lot of my classes that I've taken, and you probably already know this, that back when you would Google, you would just Google, but now everybody's going to AI, and
Hmm.
then they're going to AI and they're start asking questions. And if your business is not popping up in AI, is that something that you're making that roadside connection will be more visible so people can find it? Because I only heard about you through another person.
Yeah, I mean, we're still very, very small. So right now it's outreach is big. We're just trying to build our brand. We're looking to potentially do some integration with some other software companies to kind of bring uh, more tools to be utilized within our software. Uh, but yeah, I think that that's just the case right now. Is eventually we want to be very accessible. Eventually, we want to have a very big brand. I think that the tools that we're bringing could really change the industry for the better. But because we're small, because we're a software company, which isn't exactly the thing that a lot of people are loving to change, is the
Right,
amount of software that they have. Um, it's just a matter of kind of breaking in and trying to do what we can to find our place in it.
right. So when you say you're looking for large fleets, are you talking about large fleet as in trucking companies? Okay. So this question here is for owner operators and small fleets listening right now. What's the biggest mistake you see them make when handling breakdowns, roadside repairs, and what could they do better?
I see. When I was reading that question, it's not that I think that they're making mistakes. I don't think that the tools out there, um, like I said, I think we're really focused on where the two parties uh, complement each other, have that
Right.
complementary demand, and when that aligns, things work so smooth. But I think that when people build these other tools, build these other softwares, build these methods for trying to recover their truck, or trying to get business for a shop,
Hmm.
I think that they have only one side of the equation in mind, and so that when that is the case, it makes things easier for one party, but makes it harder for the other. And then when the other uses their tools, it makes things easier for them, but it makes it harder for the other. And so that's where I think with that relationship, that really should just be a very smooth, complementary kind of thing where they're meeting each other's needs. That's where I think that it gets all rigid, is because they're using tools that were really only designed with one side of the equation in mind. And so that's just where I'm like, I don't know if they're necessarily making any
Any
mistakes in
mistakes?
the industry as much as
Mm-hmm.
it is that there's just not a whole lot out there that is really focusing on the mutual benefit as much as it is. If you're a trucking company, use these. If you're a vendor, use these. But not really a whole lot to mesh them together.
Yeah, you're the only one that I've heard like this. Like I said, I when we broke down and we needed to get our radiator replaced, and we had to end up we went to the dealership actually, and we might have been in Virginia or Carolinas, one of those during the winter storm, and that something happened with that radiator. And I was like, oh God. It was like $500 for them to even come out and look at it. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you're kind of like, what am I supposed to do here? Um, so are you needing people to join your platform? Like, is that what the
Yep.
need is now for carriers to join your platform?
Yeah, we're looking for carriers. We're looking for vendors. Right now, because it's still our beta app, everything's for free. Everything's on our dollar. We're footing
Uh-huh.
the bill. We just want people to try it. We want to see some good activity on there. We want to start being able to see kind of how this would work, how this would function, what the results could be, any feedback that people can give that can help us kind of meet those needs better. Um, but like I said, I think it's just a matter of a complementary demand that just is not meeting up. So we need users on both sides. Would be really great. So that's a lot of what my job is just a lot of outreach right now, trying to reach out to these guys, and tell them what's going on and see if they're interested in trying out our app.
Right. So you have an app. Where is the app? Is it on uh Apple? Like, is it on both? What's the name of the app that people search for?
So right now it's called the Roadside Beta.
Roadside
You can
Beta?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the name of the app. It's a web app right now.
Okay.
So you can only find it online, but you can pull it up on your phone, you can pull it up on your computer. We're getting it to the point where it will be available for Android and iOS devices,
Mm-hmm.
but those are just kind of taking a little bit longer than we have kind of hoped. But hopefully, in the next couple of months here, we'll have those available, and then you'll be able to download them right on your phone and not really have too many issues there.
Okay, I see Roadside Beta. Okay. So you can sign up for free.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Okay.
and we don't need any sort of like personal info. We don't need a credit card. We don't need any of that kind of stuff. So the only stuff that we ask for is like public business information, and that's just stuff for communicating back and forth. Like if I'm a vendor and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put in a bid, I want to have my phone number automatically show up on that bid so that if I'm selected, these guys can call me. We can figure out anything we need to figure out before I go out there, and then that way it's just I don't have to type in my phone number 50 times every single time I put in
Gotcha.
something.
So
Yeah.
if somebody was to use it and it's free, um, they don't they if they end up doing a bid with somebody, like they connect with a diesel mechanic and they say, okay, this is the price I want. Do they
hmm
pay through the app, or is it separate from the website? Do they pay through the website through the vendor, or they pay, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. We don't handle financial transactions ourselves. And that was just another aspect of that compatibility goal where we're looking at a very, um, just a very competitive market when it comes to a lot of those softwares already in a very condensed market when it comes to those softwares available
Mm-hmm.
for trucking companies and vendors. And some of these franchises have their own kind of in-house stuff. Um,
Gotcha.
so we wanted to at least to begin to avoid those things just to make it as easy for anybody to sign on, for anybody to really get the connection aspect and the connection benefits of being part of the app without having to worry about like, oh shoot, is this another thing I'm gonna have to add my card to? Is this another thing I'm gonna have to like figure all these other things out for? and really just we wanted to stay away from the other aspects and the other complicated things that, in my opinion, a lot of other companies have already done a really good job at
Right,
providing.
right, right. I totally agree. Shanique, you have any questions? Because now you're in a you in a good spot. Anything you'd like to ask?
Oh no, I think the idea is awesome. You know, the technology, I mean, we have to keep up with it. And I like the idea. Um, Other people stepping away from Google. I like that. You know, you go into the app and then you figure out what you want instead of
Mm-hmm.
calling and being on hold forever. Okay. So I like the idea.
Because you went through
Thank you.
that, Reese. You went through that as well, Shanique, when you had the truck break down in Texas.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
You was dispatching a truck and it broke down in Texas, and y'all were asking me, "Well, do we know a mechanic?" I'm like, I only know my mechanic. I don't know a mechanic over where you're asking for. I'm like, Google. Yeah.
Definitely. To have that tool is amazing. It would
Yes.
be helpful.
Owen,
Yeah.
so can you tell us where do you have mechanics currently registered on Roadside Beta?
We have mechanics in 7 states right now.
Okay.
So we have them in, if I can recall them correctly, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Missouri,
It's
and
okay. I didn't ask you that
Arkansas. Is that
question
all
in
of them?
advance.
No, it's all
Okay.
good.
So you need some in all 50 states is what you're saying. So
That's
anybody
our
who's
goal.
listening to us talk right now, the goal is for Roadside Beta to have diesel mechanics sign up in all 50 states. So if you're listening to this, this is what we need. And carriers, we need you to join as well. I think I did try to join and I don't know what happened, but I'll try again.
Okay.
What about dispatchers? I mean, some of the dispatchers who are dispatching several different trucks, should they join as well, or we just keep it to the dispatcher tell their carriers to join?
Yeah, so the trucking company that we worked with when we were kind of designing the foundation of it, uh, they were a larger company that wanted to be able to retain the ability to call out of the shots when it came to the maintenance stuff. So we built three user interfaces. One is for the driver to use. That one is essentially just uh, the ability to send out a beacon the moment that something goes wrong because they're going to be the first to know.
Right.
Um, then the dispatcher automatically gets notified, or they can create a beacon themselves if the driver decides to call them instead. And they can monitor the whole situation. They monitor beacons, they monitor bids, they can control what the fleet is. We have a page on the dispatcher platform or the dispatcher account where they can basically enter in all their truck info, all their trailer info, and then just connect those things to beacons or connect them to drivers as need be. And that just really streamlines the process too of not having to type in the entire VIN number every single
Mm,
time something breaks down. You can just say, "Hey, this is the truck that they're using. It's truck number 4 in our fleet." We'll connect them to the beacon, or you can even connect them to the driver account, so that if the driver puts out a beacon, that truck is automatically with them and all that info is with them as well.
nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. So let me just make sure I understand. When I join and I put the truck in there and I put my profile and Cherie profile, the truck will be in there and I won't have to keep doing it every single time.
Hmm.
Okay, that's it. That's what I like right there. Will we put the truck number? Like, okay, you said truck number. Okay, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. I'm just
Yeah.
because I'm on your website right now. It says trucking dispatchers monitor and manage any unexpected delays within your fleet in real time. Send out a beacon or be notified of any sent by your drivers, and watch as the best offers from all nearby mechanics to roll in naturally. You could compare prices, ETA, credibility ratings from all inquiring mechanical vendors on a single platform, ensuring the best assistance for your carrier with less effort and more results. I like that. I like that.
Me too.
Yeah, that's real nice right there. Okay. And looking ahead, how do you see technology changing roadside assistance and truck maintenance over the next few years? And where does I've been calling it Roadside Connection. It's
You're fine.
Roadside Beta. Roadside Beta fit into the future, into that future.
Yeah. Um, I mean, technology is always going to be advancing and changing things and changing the industry. Uh, the two aspects I would say are problematic and maybe a little concerning just moving forward is one thing. Things are just making things so or new softwares we're often seeing are very complicated. And especially like I said earlier, time is money in this industry. So
Yes.
if we're having to adapt softwares that take days of training, weeks of training, months of training before we're getting it down with the snap of a finger, you know
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of wasted time. That's a lot of cost when it comes to the time that it took to do that, the time that it takes to adapt to it, the time that it takes to change from what we were using before to that thing or the new thing. Um, so that I mean that's not only a big deterrence, but it's a big cost, and
Gotcha.
one that the industry can't take any more of. We're already kind of struggling enough.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other thing is just the creating new softwares, creating new technologies with only one party in mind for this industry. It's just going to keep on building that discrepancy between shops. It's going to keep on making the consequences of our diesel technician shortage just all the more worse because we're not able to access that full supply of diesel techs and really utilize them to the best uses.
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of my main things when it comes to just kind of looking at the future of technology there. And then just where Roadside Beta fits in that is we're just trying to be simple. We're trying to be simple software. We're trying to be easy to use, easy to pick up, and then really focus on that relationship. Because I truly believe that diesel technicians, there at least cannot be nearly as many without a fully functioning trucking industry. And the trucking industry cannot exist without diesel techs to help them get through
Exactly.
anything unexpected. So if we are continuing to ignore that these technologies, these softwares need to be benefiting both in a smooth, kind of cooperative way, then I think that we're just going to continue to suffer from those consequences and those outcomes of what that creates.
And one question, because this is mechanical, does this cover uh towing? Okay, this covers towing as well too. And I want to talk to you, Owen, totally off topic at this point because I know you're building this platform. I believe you have a team of people. I don't know if you're using your own money to start this, but you have a wonderful idea. Have you ever thought about applying to grants?
I've looked into it briefly. We recently tried to apply to be in a pitch startup kind of competition.
Pitch competition?
Yeah, that was
Yep.
up here. Didn't make it, unfortunately. That's okay. I'm sure there's a lot of good ideas out there.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, yeah, it has just kind of been bootstrapping financing through me and my partners as we've been kind of continuing on. But I've looked briefly into grants, kind of only in the last couple of days actually, so I haven't gotten too far into that yet.
I will tell you, I've won 20,000 in grants and pitch
Okay.
competitions. The money is there. Is not you look at it today and look at it again in February. No, it's a consistent situation. What I will tell you is community based. You
Mm-hmm.
need to find a community in your roadside beta. You need to figure out how roadside beta is helping the community. Would you know how to say that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would know how to. I mean, with the effect and the reliance on the trucking company or the trucking industry in general, um, I believe I know how to communicate. I mean,
So
we've
let me give
you
you
already
what
kind
I
of
would
been
say. Let me give you what I would say
okay.
because you are very good at this stuff. So you probably know to use Chat GPT, AI, and all that other type of stuff. So if I was pitching it, I would say I am using Roadside Beta to connect to small businesses in the community,
Hmm.
underserved communities, which a lot of times some of these mechanics are small business owner, mom and pops. And this is providing revenue for them to help build their business. So when you're looking at these questions, You need to know how to, it's all about how you answer the question.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And yeah, so
I would agree.
when you're looking at a company, like there is one, I'll start giving you out some stuff on here. You might want to start taking notes. Verizon Digital Wireless, they
Hmm.
give out $10,000 grants multiple times a year. And if you read it, you have to, is a community. Telling you right now
Hmm.
is community. Um, there is one that does virtual pitch competitions every month. I've won it several times. $2,500 a month. Sky's the limit. Is free. They offer a lot of resources to you, but it's really, you're just pitching. You're saying what problem you're solving and things of that nature. And then they also offer other opportunities as well too. And then there's also Hello Alice. Hello Alice have a free platform. That's where I won my $10,000 grant for FedEx Boost. And that is another platform as well too. When you answer the questions, you will see that as well too. But Galaxy of Stars is where I look for grants. It's $69 for the year. It'll save you time on Googling. And there's a lot of fraud out there. So I'm
For sure.
telling you
Yeah.
now, um, if you ever need any help on any of that type of stuff, just reach out to me. I do consultations to kind of help you out, but it's not hard to do at all. And the pitch competitions, like I said, I won three. Well, I won two, came a runner up in two of them, and a lot of times I do Google pitch competitions in the Houston area as well too, because sometimes they don't just be listed there, be like small.
Yeah, no, yeah, I appreciate all that. I would definitely reach out because I think for me, it's easy to get ahead in kind of the bigger vision of things. But yeah, like you said, a lot of that financing, a lot of the support is definitely going to come from the community level. So yeah, I definitely appreciate the reminder, and then
Yeah.
also just the feedback when it comes to how a lot of that stuff will best be done. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why sometimes when I first started, it was like, what problem you're solving? I'm moving freight. What problem do you think I'm solving? And
Yeah.
or how do you get back to the community? I'm providing jobs. I mean, come
Right.
on. You know what I mean? So but then you have to really like look at the company, look at their mission visions, look at prior winners, make sure you're eligible,
Hmm.
and go from there. Because a lot of times you just like jump into these grants. You're not, I just start jumping them. I'm like, why am I winning? And I think the first time I won my $2,000 grant, like I forgot that I had did it, and it was like, oh, you won. I was like, and after that, I've been sold ever since. I've been sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
definitely something to look into for sure.
trust me, you'd want to. And as we begin to wrap up the conversation, is there anything you want any listeners to take away from Roadside Beta?
I think I've covered kind of most aspects when it comes to kind of what we're hoping to accomplish and kind of what our goals are, and even what hopefully other softwares will be looking at when it comes to the trucking industry and how it interacts with its diesel tax and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Only other thing to kind of mention is if you guys aren't already, any listeners out there, stop at the Mid America Trucking Show because we will be exhibiting for our very first time at that show in the maintenance and repair pavilion. So it'd be really cool to see you there. We're going to be able to kind of have a good display set up where it'll be a lot easier for you to kind of get a good sense of what's going on and what we're
Where
trying to
is the
accomplish.
Mid America? When is it?
That's going to be March 26th through 28th in Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville, Kentucky. Okay. And then you're going to try to look into the Broker Carrier Summit that's in April.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm really thinking I'm going to be there. So if you go, you got to let me know that you go so I can meet you in person as well too. Because I hear wonderful things at because the brokers are there in person.
Hmm.
That's how a lot of people have got dedicated freight, and it's relationship like we just talked about earlier. Trucking is all about relationship building.
Oh yeah.
And with all the fraud that's in this industry, people need to know Owen and Roadside Beta is real. Shanique and her Neek dis I'm saying it right, Neek Dispatching is really a US based dispatcher. And TLA
Hmm.
Group, we are a carrier as well too. So it's all about building those relationships, getting your name out there. And in a couple of, I think next week, I will have the double broker bounty hunter join our podcast. I'm looking forward to learning more about that. And if there's Shanique, is there anything else you want to add?
Oh no, I think you touched base on a lot. I like it.
Okay.
Definitely. I think seeing people nowadays is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
Yes.
hide behind the screen. Tell people who you are, what you do.
Yes.
To prevent a lot of craziness that's going on.
I would like to say, Roadside Beta, your Facebook needs to have a face on there.
Okay.
I'm like, who is he? I was like, just talking to your what do you call it, logo. I'm like, he never shows or talks about what it is. You gotta
Yeah.
start. You gotta let people know who you are in this
Yes,
industry. Who is the man behind Roadside Beta? Who are the people? I don't think it's just you by yourself. Who is the team?
Absolutely.
Get some of your diesel mechanics to do a testimonial video.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So
Even if you were to put it on your website.
Hmm.
your
Yeah,
website, I mean, the website is good. It gives me a lot of information, but I think the key thing you're missing is that relationship, that face.
Right.
Who are the people behind Roadside Beta? What made you do Roadside Beta? You gotta tap into these emotions, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
All right, well, I don't want to hold you guys up. I thank you very much for joining the podcast today, and I will download some videos and share them all over our social media. And the full video will be on my Facebook if you want to share it as well too, both of you.
Awesome.
okay.
All
Well,
righty.
thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Alright.
you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you guys. Bye.